And we're back. Welcome to, hang on, I'm going to pause this music real quick. So welcome to week 2 of our figure drawing class. Today we are going to be covering mainly box form mannequins, but also other shapes and forms you can use in the box form mannequins to kind of vary it. We're going to be having fun playing with mannequins. We're going to let you have the freedom to invent and the freedom to experiment. I'm going to have a bunch of reference images, drawing manual reference images that you can look at when we get to that. But we're going to warm up with about 10 minutes of ones, and I'll talk through a little bit what we're going to be doing this evening. So yeah, I think we're good. So as soon as I start now, we're going to get ready to start. So everyone get ready to start drawing. Just loosen up, and we're going to be doing this for the next 10 minutes. Okay, Google, set timer for 10 minutes.
All right, 10 minutes, starting now.
So some of what you're going to see me doing during this next 10 minutes is a little tiny taste of what we're going to be doing this evening. I have some stuff that I'm going to actually share with you that I'd like you to, if you're able to, either display alongside you or refer to while you're drawing. But if you aren't set up for doing that right now, don't worry about it. It'll be stuff for you to practice throughout the week. But I made a Google image folder of a bunch of stuff. Some of you who attended my figure drawing workshop yesterday might recognize some of these poses, and if you did attend yesterday, don't worry about it, because it's okay to practice the same pose sometimes, multiple times, especially if you're going at it with a fresh mindset, or trying to study some different sort of thing with it. Nevertheless, I am going to be working on gradually growing out the library of figures and stuff I have. Also, let me know if the music is way too overpowering versus my voice. I don't think it would be, because I think I put a negative gain filter on the music. But let me know if the music volume kind of sucks. Like, am I loud and clear? Okay, good. Let me know if the music does get loud, or even if you want the music to be turned up a little bit. So let me know if there's any volume issues with what I'm doing right now. Anytime something like that happens. I've got my eyes on chat, so I can see if anything happens. So you may notice me this evening deliberately deviating away from the model a lot, and I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that. One of the things I'm doing with this is to try to break me out of the mindset of just copying what I'm seeing and trying to interpret stuff a little bit. Like, for example, this guy right here, I'm turning his torso slightly to the left and changing the pose slightly. I'm not strictly copying it, I'm trying to build something out of it. Drew those first two pretty huge for the page. I want to shrink those actually. But what we're going to be focusing on this evening is box forms. But it's not just going to be strictly boxes, and they're not not necessarily going to be stiff boxes. They will be bendy, pliable boxes. And they will involve the use of things like cylinders and spheres and ovoids and other things to help you add additions to them. And you'll also be making use of gesture drawing, either integrated directly into the box forms, like these curves that I'm making right here on this torso I invented just now. I'll be talking a little bit more about that after our warm-up here. The mindset I want people to get into is the idea that you can play with these forms. These are like Lego building blocks, pliable Lego building blocks that you can play with to get any pose you want. I want people to cultivate the idea of picking and choosing what you're intelligently, what you're trying to study. When you sit down to do these, like pick and choose what area you want to focus on. In this case, I'm choosing to focus on the torso in the 1 minute I have. Emphasize that squish on the left side there. Stretch here. Maybe get a little bit of the pit of the neck in there. Some ovoid shapes in here for the shoulders. Maybe connect them a little bit with the body. And then you can utilize stuff from like last week. Like there's, in that thing I just drew, there's a little bit of the skeleton mannequin in there, the Lima skeleton mannequin in there, with those side discs and stuff that I added in. I'm actually going to continue on this because I can keep inventing. That's the fun thing about once you start getting used to making these forms and used to observing figures, you can start inventing stuff. Like something as simple as like these two parallel lines here become a leg. And it's a combination of mileage, observation, and utilizing different principles of drawing. The secret sauce, though, is putting in the hours doing this. I've been kind of struggling lately with how do I pace myself and to get the results I want. So I'm still working on that. I'm still learning how I learn, how I best absorb stuff. So this week on Thursday, I actually scheduled a figure drawing workshop through the Discord where we just did time poses. Like it wasn't streamed to Twitch. There wasn't any really art instruction stuff. But it was time for me. It like doing a figure workshop like that gave me and other people extra mileage for 3 hours. That was the point. So you're going to be seeing me do that a lot more, actually, through our Discord. Doing even on my off days where I'm not teaching classes, I'll be trying to run at least 1 3-hour workshop if I can, unless if I'm taking a rest day, or if I'm sitting in on someone else's class that's doing something similar, or if I'm working on some kind of me time, study time, personal project type thing. You're gonna be seeing me doing that a lot more, because I'm trying to pace out how and where and when I put practice in. And stuff that it was hard for me to stuff that I was struggling with is like starting to click now that I'm putting that mileage in. Anyway, so we'll just finish up on this pose here, and I'll get to the demos in a little bit. Okay, Google, stop. Alright, so first off, I have a Google folder to share, Google album to share. Let's see here. So I'm going to share that in the Discord and in Twitch. So I'm linking this in Twitch, and now I'm linking it in Discord. So what this is, don't be deceived by the thumbnail that's just showing a head, but there's a lot of like, it's a mixture of stuff that I've yanked together that's like a mix of useful pages from figure drawing manuals and stuff. I'll show a little bit on the Twitch in a little bit. Let me see here. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Also, again, let me know if the music is distracting or whatever. I'm actually going to lower the volume myself right now. So this is a mixture of stuff from different drawing manuals and other things that I found online that seem pretty useful. What this is something for you to cycle between for pieces of inspiration as you're drawing. You can copy from these. You can have these alongside you. And be shifting through them. You can print them out. You can try to riff on them and try to, like, you might have something like you might have a page like this open next to you while you're trying to do one of the figures that we're doing tonight. You might try to handle the figure like this. I want to get you used to the idea of having like drawing manuals near you so you can refer to them for like how you break stuff down. Like you want to print out pages like these, you want to have them near you, you want to be able to glance up at them as kind of an idea to riff on. This one is a particularly useful page. I'm going to be concentrating on this one. This one actually illustrates in complex form a lot of what we're going to be going over tonight, or a lot of what I want people to be doing tonight. So this page in particular, I want people to pay close attention to, because this one uses box forms, if you look at it. Now, for these, ignore all the complicated stuff that's in there when you're just starting doing these. Like, you're just making like a line of action and 3 cubes, kind of like this stuff. You can add additional stuff to it, like spheres and cylinders and stuff to it, but for most of the people here, I want you doing like this kind of triple cube thing that's going on here. From there, though, you can also, here, let's see. From there, though, you can also build like cylinders off the limbs. You don't have to go as complicated as this. You can just like get a few drops of it in there. You can use box form, like kind of curvy box forms for the whole figure, like this. Like this is a good page to refer to right here. So is this. This one's an excellent page to refer to for how I want people to draw. Like, notice how they broke down like the legs into boxes and kind of extruded masses of boxes here and there. Like this one has a gap in between the knee right there, but this one doesn't, and so on. You can kind of play with it. It's just a way of like I want people to exercise their ability to design shapes to describe a figure. So look at pages like these and stuff. Try to pick up on like maybe the simpler ones to start with, or the simpler forms and so on. But this guy you'd have to zoom in on in order to see. But that one's from Proco, and that one shows a really nice application of a lot of this stuff. Yeah, you see down here, just like very, very simple forms. And this is this is another page describing like how to combine like pliability with spheres and cubes. So use the shared folder that I've shared in Discord and Twitch. I'll share it again. Right there. And just have it near you. Like, maybe get like multiple images of it lined up and shift between them as like your eye kind of gets tired on one and you go to another one, you go to another one while you're doing this tonight. That's actually what I have right here on my screen. You can't see it, but I have basically this stuff like right next to me, on screen with me. But anyway, I'm going to show off a little bit more of what we're going to be kind of doing tonight to give some better examples. But here, let me find my cheat sheet real quick. Hang on, just be a second. Just gotta find the image that I want to have next to me while I do this. Okay, so what I want people doing this evening is like when you get say like a pose like this guy right here, I want you to start thinking of it in terms of how you can break it down into pliable cubes. Firstly, especially those 3 pliable cubes for the head, the torso, and the pelvis. And then from there, you hang on one second, something letting me group these into a folder. This is annoying. Oh, whatever. And Clip Studio is being annoying right now for some reason. Fuck. Okay, guess I'll have to do this. Alright. So, what I want people doing this evening is like when you get like a pose like this, I want you to like start breaking it down into cubes. Like you could even like start with the head, kind of like this. Like look for the angle of the eyes, kind of establish the head, then you get like a side plane of the head like that. Something like this. I made this guy a little narrow. I've noticed when I do this I have a tendency to make my cubes a little narrow. But it's okay. And then like from here, you can either like go straight into like making a pliable cube down here, but you can also like start with a line of action, kind of, for just like at least like where the rib cage and the pelvis are, to use as a guideline. And then you kind of feel out and design a pliable cubic shape for each component. Something like this. These aren't going to be perfect, and you shouldn't maybe strictly follow the model, but you should try to riff on it and play with it. These are your fun, bendy, expressive toys that you can play with however you want. These cubes and these cylinders and so on. So you shouldn't feel scared to, deviate from the model a little bit. Just as long as you're just as long as you're trying to either keep in mind the essence of the pose that you're drawing, or design something yourself. Like riff on the pose and push it in a direction that it's not going in or something. So like from here, I did this a little bit dirty. This was really sketchy. You should be using much cleaner lines than I am right now, but from here you can do something like this. Like I use this kind of sphere shape here for the deltoid. It's just like a simple shape. And then I make kind of a cylinder sort of form coming off where the arm would be, like that. And maybe I'm going to add this here about where I think the elbow would be. Then maybe square off the wrist like I like to do sometimes. Then if I have a little bit more time, I might do kind of a bendy box form for the palm area of the hand, something like that. You can play with this stuff. Like you don't even have to do, like this can be all you do for like a time pose or something. I want people to like be more intelligent about what they choose to draw, what they choose to leave in and leave out for their studies. Sometimes you'll do a whole figure. Sometimes you'll just do one area of the figure. Try to figure out what you think you need to focus on. If there's something you're struggling with in particular, maybe you should just focus on that area for a little while. Maybe just finding the head angles for a little while would be good for you, for example. I want people to kind of learn how to gauge how they practice a little bit. So look at that, I'm doing a cylinder there. Maybe put a ball in there. I could have done a cube for the kneecap, but I chose a sphere. I'm going to do like something similar to what I did for the thigh on the calf, like that. And then I'm going to play off of this to make a kind of a bendy cube for the heel, right there. See how this looks. I wonder I can handle that foot up there, because that foot seems like a star thing to design. Let's try this. I'll just do like this kind of pliable, elaborate shape here just for fun. And you're not going for perfection with these. Like these are just time poses where you're just exposing yourself to these very different figure poses. You're taking a crack at them. You're trying to see what works and what doesn't, see what you messed up on, see what you could do better the next time. You're also getting in mileage. You're working up your hand dexterity and your eye and your ability to analyze what you're looking at. So this is a workout for you, doing these. And for those of you who I've been recommending to check out the Draw a Box website, this is why I told you to check out the Draw a Box website, because the stuff on Draw a Box applies literally to what we're doing right now. not just like the core draftsmanship stuff there, but like specifically the box exercises and other shape exercises on the site. Those are the building blocks of like this. Someone asked if I can put more quality options for the stream in. I don't know how I do that actually. Wouldn't there be like multiple quality options that pop up in Twitch normally, or like auto or something? Anyway, one of the inherent symptoms of, you might notice like this versus this. One of the inherent symptoms of like digital drawing is like the tendency to zoom in and zoom out can cause weird proportional issues. There is a trick around that that I'm actually going to be trying to use some more in the future. I don't know how much I'm going to use it this session though, but in Clip Studio, you can do something like this. Oops. Well, you can't see it, but I just created a separate window that's like alongside the current window that I have, that's looking at the same image, but zoomed out. So even when I'm zoomed in on the drawing on the left side, I can see the right side. But unfortunately, due to how like I'm streaming this right now, you can't see it. So we're gonna take a short break. I'm gonna do some shout outs because some people have actually just subscribed to me on Patreon, and also I've just got my first payout from Twitch. So yay! Earlier today, I got my very first payout from Twitch for this, like the donations and subs that people have been giving me here. The way it works on Twitch is like during a payment period. I think the payment period is like 1 or 2 months or something like that. I forget exactly, but in order to get paid, you have to make. In order to get paid in the pay period, you have to make at least $100. If you don't get paid that pay period, that amount just gets rolled over into the next pay period. But I think I've been streaming for like 3 months now or something, but 2.5 months, something like that. I just got my first payout, and it's only $106, but that's still good. It's a nice start. I mean, I've been streaming way more. I've been streaming quite a lot, but yeah, like every little bit helps, and that money I'm going to roll over into the class improvement budget, and maybe keep about $20 for a Steam game or something. I don't know, but I'm gonna do some plugs and shout-outs. Thank you Rowdy Critic 69 for pledging to me on Patreon. A little alert there for you popping up. Thanks again Nintendo for the 100 bits from last stream. I'm gonna do some plugs for my Patreon and some other things real quick. Let's see here. I don't really have to show it on screen, but my Patreon link is down below in the Twitch menu, and also my donation link for my Ko-fi page, which donates directly to my PayPal. And I use the majority of the money that I get for class improvement stuff, with like a little bit left over for like fun money or something. But most of it is going into equipment for equipment for class improvement things. Like I've got a priority list of things I need to get. The Asaro head, I'm going to be budgeting. I'm still budgeting for that, so I can get a physical version of the planar Asaro head that I can use for teaching my head drawing classes. And I'm also going to be budgeting for a new mouse, because I've got 2 computer systems right now. And in order to use both of them on the fly, I'm going to need a mouse that has a Bluetooth swapping feature. So I'm looking at the Logitech MX Master mouse, I think it's called. It's a wireless mouse that's made for creatives, that has a button on it that you can swap between different systems on the fly. So that'll be really handy for me when I'm doing streams and I might be using more than one computer system at the same time. I already have a keyboard that does that, by the way. We're gonna get started on our next drawing session in about 2 minutes here. But yeah, like I said, I want people to have that folder that I posted in chat. I'm gonna post it again in Twitch. It's already available in Discord. But there it is again. You can use that folder full of images. Have those open near you while you're drawing along to our time figure poses. We will be doing 2-minute figure poses to start. Then we'll slow it to 5s. And then we'll slow it to 7s, and then we might even slow it to 10s. I want people utilizing like basic shapes of like cylinders, cubes, spheres and ovoids and stuff. Look at all the stuff like that's on those pages that I gave you for ideas of what to do. Shift through it and kind of like maybe open a page that you really kind of want to pull from and study from. I would favor the simpler pages if you're newer to this. But you don't have to like do everything at once. You can pick and choose what you're going to concentrate on. But yeah, let that be your guide this evening for what you're going to be drawing and how you're going to be drawing, and use it throughout the week. So okay, Google, set timer for 1 minute.
1 minute, and that's starting now.
It's hydrating a little bit, and then we're going to get started in about another 45 seconds or whatever. So how's everyone doing? I also wanted to mention Saturday's class is on for tomorrow. We are not studying animation. We are going to be studying animation character figure drawing. So tomorrow is going to be essentially another form of figure drawing class, but we're going to be studying we're going to be using like animated character model sheets and trying to draw the characters on like trying to draw the characters that we pick. Okay, Google, stop. We're going to be trying to draw the characters that we pick for ourselves using the figure drawing reference we have. Like, you could use like Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles characters. You could use like Cuphead. You could use Devilman Crybaby stuff. Just anything really. I'll be collecting a bunch of like model sheets and stuff that we'll also be copying and studying from too. That should be really fun and interesting. The idea that I have behind doing that is I want people to start learning how to apply the figure drawing principles we're going over into characters that they're doing for their animation or comics or whatever. So let's see here. I'll get started on the 2-minute poses. Set up the gesture drawing app real quick. Here we go. Okay, Google, set timer for 25 minutes.
25 minutes, and that's starting now.
There we go. So remember, keep that page, keep the Google Docs thing open, or like download it, or open multiple images from it and stuff. Keep it handy. Pick some pages from it to study from. I recommend the pages with like the simple box forms on it, the simple bendy box forms. Have it near you and kind of like riff on them. Maybe take a break from doing the actual model to copy some of the stuff from it for a bit and then come back to doing the model. One thing we're also going to get to this evening is I'm going to show you how to do draw over study using this stuff. We'll probably do that after this session, this 2-minute session here. But you feel free to jump ahead of me on that, and like you can maybe copy paste the image that's on screen into your drawing app, and try to draw over it, like breaking it down into simple cube shapes, cubes and cylinders and spheres and things, using the image folder that I shared as a kind of a general guideline or a reference source. And again, be smart about what area of the body you're going to concentrate on. I'm choosing to concentrate on the torso for this one. I may not necessarily draw very much of the legs on this one. I'm going to include a little bit of that at the end. Also, something I'm thinking about doing in the future, because I'm starting to like really sort of hit a wall in what I can actually study with people here. Like art nudes and like utilizing art books and art training resources is really tough doing over a live stream. So I'm thinking of making special classes that will not be streamed and not be recorded, and that will be just like kind of group workshops that I do privately on my own private server. And it'll be just like a very small select group of people. They should all be vetted to be like grown adults, 18 or older, because we're going to be working from art nudes, among other things. And we'll go over like a lot of study. Like it's basically going to be a really in-depth hardcore study group. I don't know if I'm going to actually like make that something I would charge for, or whether it would be a collaborative study group of just really dedicated people. But I'll see. If it is essentially a class that I am teaching, then yes, it would be, or tutoring people on, yes, then yes, it would be something I would make like a Patreon tier, and like maybe even limit the number of people who can actually access it or something, so it doesn't get too crazy, and so I can maybe get to like critique people in it or something. But I'll see. I'm kind of just like experimenting with those ideas now. So for this one, I've been like doing a lot of torsos lately, so maybe for this one I'll do pelvis and legs and break those down into cube shapes. I'll just draw like enough of like that part of the torso. How do you approach these? Just try to go about it simple. Draw cubes very, very quickly. Maybe draw a quick line of action, and then try to get like 3 boxes on it. Remember, if you get lost, if you're getting a little overwhelmed, just remember, line of action, cube, or box, line of action, box, box, box. And then you can add dimensionality to it if you want, like this. And you can slow down to do these. Like I did that one really fast, but you can actually like really slow down and scrutinize what you're doing for these, especially for newcomers here. But don't worry, these are going to gradually slow down. Like, I want to start with fast ones this evening because I want people to kind of just like rush at it, to loosen up to start with. And then we'll be slowing down more and more. Like the next set is going to be a set of 5-minute poses. Also, if you are struggling, that folder I gave you, try drawing from that. Like if the poses are going by too quickly for you. Keep glancing up at the model above you here though. Maybe you can kind of riff on what the model is doing while you're looking at the Google the Google photo album that I shared with the reference images in it. In hindsight, I should have moved that a little bit more there. Yeah, I'll try to get on that. I don't know how to set it so there's like stream of different qualities and stuff. I thought it was in there by default. Like I thought you could by default select what stream quality you view the stream as. You sure you're not able to like set it to auto or something so it'll just like automatically reduce quality as needed? The Google folder is in the Discord, in the classroom chat, but I'll link it again here. I've got the copy paste handy. There. Look at the Google folder and have it open with you while you're doing these. Use it as kind of like a guideline for, use some of the images in it as guidelines for how you're going to be drawing this evening. That's what I'm doing right now, actually. Yeah, I've got enough to afford the Asaro head now. Just got to balance my priorities about whether I'm going to go for that straight away, or I'm going to budget for that mouse. There's other things that I want to get. I'm starting to get like a budget list together of the things I'm going to need to get to improve my class quality. I need a webcam for like traditional. I think a webcam that's set up as a down shooter, so I can do traditional traditional demos. I'm gonna probably need a budget for traditional art supplies too in there, so I'm gonna need to get a new batch of charcoal pencils to do those. Looking at getting another monitor. So I got 2 computer systems here. And I want to ideally see if I can use both of them to multitask for streams and other things. So I'm going to need to get that mouse I was talking about also. And I'm going to need to budget for another digital drawing tablet, whether it's a display or a non-display tablet. Some pretty affordable 15-inch options for drawing display tablet these days too, though. Yeah, it's cool coming back to this now that like I've gotten like more in gear than I was even yesterday, because I can now interpret these shapes in a way I couldn't really see them before. I might use these again, maybe not necessarily tomorrow. I actually want to see if we can get a folder of fresh images for tomorrow's class. I'll be working on that after I get done tonight. Yeah, sort of like what we were doing here with this figure, with these like figure reference stuff in the Google Doc. That's sort of what we're going to be doing tomorrow, except we're going to be doing it with like cartoon characters from animation and stuff, with model sheets and other things. And I'll let you in on a secret, like a lot of really well designed animation stuff is like what we're doing right here. This is hard mode. This is like hard mode stuff. A lot of cartoon animation stuff is like easy. In cartoon animation designs are designed to be easy mode for the artists that work on them. So they still utilize like all these complex principles of draftsmanship and stuff that we're practicing here, but they're designed to be easy for artists in production. But the characters are designed to be easy for artists in production pipeline to handle. You can definitely see that like on shows with like simpler character designs, like Steven Universe or well, definitely Adventure Time. But I mean, like even like the Fleischer Brothers style animation stuff that's on Cuphead, for example. Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has really kind of tougher character designs to get into, but if you really look at them and scrutinize how they're built, they are pretty rhythmical and simple to understand once you kind of wrap your head around them. I haven't yet, but I know that they are that way. From observation. But what we're going to be doing tomorrow is utilizing some of the stuff that we've been going over here, but utilizing it for characters. And again, you can use your own characters if you want to for the class. It's going to be a mix of us drawing from model sheets and existing animation and drawing existing characters using timed poses like that, timed photo poses like this. And that calls upon you to interpret what you're seeing when you get figure poses up here. Like, how would you draw like Cuphead making this pose, for example? Like, you'd probably change it quite a bit. We'll just kind of start wrapping people's heads around the idea of utilizing figure drawing for animation and of course comics and just character design in general. Yeah, I saw that too. I know what you're talking about with the Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where what you're talking about, the base animation, that was the storyboard artist animation. The storyboard artist in Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did a lot of like animation, kind of. Basically, that like fully animated scenes in Storyboard Pro, basically like rough animation. And it's a lot looser and more expressive, but it's not on model, and it's not consistent with the show style, which makes me actually want to see like what would Flying Bark do if they decide, hey, maybe we should do a show production where the production style is to make it closer to the kind of rough, loose storyboard style stuff. It would be kind of like Flying Bark doing a looser sort of Mob Psycho 100 sort of thing. Yeah, these are some good poses that I found yesterday. I'm going to try to like sprinkle bits of anatomy knowledge throughout these classes as we go through them more and more. But we're going to definitely be getting into more anatomy. Next week we are going to be doing more mannequin practice, by the way. In fact, we're going to be doing lots of mannequin practice for the next several weeks. Different kinds of mannequin, iterating on what we're doing. I want people to get super fluent with mannequinizing figures. And I want you to use like multiple to get used to using multiple systems to break down figures. So ultimately, these systems of mannequinization are there as a tool to help you wrap your head around the figure and help you describe the figure. You don't necessarily have to stick to a single one of them. It's good to stick to it for the purposes of like consistency when you're trying to learn, but once you have wrapped your head around it to an extent, you can start to play with it some more and combine it with other systems and stuff. Because it's ultimately at the end of the day, ultimately it's how you interpret and understand things three-dimensionally. You can't just like oh, if I follow the Riley method figure pose thing, I will get lifelike results every time. No, that's not how it works. You gotta keep the figure alive that you're drawing. Keep the thing alive that you're drawing. It has to be something that is the sum of your ability to break down and analyze and play with the figure. That does also involve, sometimes you do have to slow down and observe and make careful, slow decisions and stuff, especially early on when you're trying to learn. But then as you start like getting a handle on it, you can start playing with it some more. It's almost kind of like you're learning to ride a bike, and like your first little bit of pedaling is unsteady, kind of stiff, and you're sort of fighting to maintain balance. Then you start getting a little bit more used to it faster, and over time you get better and better at it. And if you get really good at it, you might be even doing like BMX tricks or something. Just be riding on your handlebars and stuff. It's the same kind of thing with any other manual skill. Art being, of course, a very manual skill. Things are going to be a little stiff at first. When you need to slow down, observe, and learn, and build up your understanding of what you're doing. And I'm really puzzled by this one right here. I don't know what the context is for what this image. I got it because of the pose. But yeah, he's in like a bedroom. And he's like totally out of proportion to everything else around him. I have no idea what the context for what this image is. Maybe if there's like a visual pun here going on. I don't know. Yeah, it is photoshopped. Blatantly photoshopped. I have no idea what the context for why this image exists. But the pose is good. So I'm a fan of, right now anyway, I'm a fan of using like just simple circles for the deltoid right now. There's other more complex shapes I could use. But if you look at some of the sample images that I got, some of them use simple circles for the deltoid. Some of you use more complex shapes for the deltoid. That's just what I'm going with right now because I'm having trouble wrapping my head around a particular complex shape there. Oh, there, look. Because I did that form now, I can kind of wrap my head around a little easier. Right there. What's cool is if you're working in simplicity like this, like you can capture quite a lot in just like a few lines. Like I just included a little bit of the gesture of the legs there, maybe like a little bit of the top of the legs to show the direction that they're going in. Even though I did that in like the last 15 seconds or so. I think I definitely will use some of these for tomorrow, because some of these are really good poses. This one would be an excellent one to use on like an anime character or something. But you should get fluent in this stuff. Like clock in your mileage every day. I put in at least 3 hours every day if you can help it in time pose sessions like this. Productively trying to push yourself, learning the kind of stuff that's in those handouts I gave you in the Google Docs folder, the Google Photos folder, album, whatever. I mean, because the more of this you do, the more you can wrap your head around it, and the more your hand will do what you want it to do when you need it to do something. Or your arm, actually. You should not be drawing from your wrist or your elbow. I cannot stress that enough. Always draw from your shoulder, even if you're drawing on an itty bitty sketch pad. So you're going to fuck up your hand if you draw from your wrist, and you're not going to get the control you need. There's some exceptions, of course, where you can draw from the elbow sometimes and stuff, and a little bit of our wrist and hand articulation is okay. The main thing is you want to take as much pressure as possible off your wrist and your elbow. Okay, Google, how much time left on timer?
52 seconds to go.
Nice. So make this one like a final 1 minute pose or something, I don't know. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better today because I put in my mileage yesterday, and because I had some pretty strong warm-ups coming into this. So I'm feeling like this is going to be a very productive session, definitely for me. I hope it will be for all of you as well. So I'm here to learn and improve my skills as much as anyone else here. It's like I'm teaching these like I've said this before, and I'll say it time and time again. I'm not a professional teacher. I'm here to learn and study with all the rest of you. You're almost like my moral support here to keep me on task. Okay, Google, stop. You're almost like my moral support here to keep me on task with focused study and learning. And it's fun. I'm really enjoying myself, and I want to keep going with this. I'm liking that I'm starting to hit a stride in growth. Like I've been beating my head against the wall for a while, but like key to that is like disciplining myself, I think, to clock in at least 3 hours of study a day or more. And that definitely paid off from yesterday. Tried to really get that perspective with an untrained eye, not gonna lie. Yeah, well, maybe I should do a draw over demo. But that's where you would want to do a bunch of draw over demos to help wrap your head around what you're seeing. That's why you do draw. That's why you do draw over stuff. Anyway, so that guy's stopping, so I'll pause it. Okay, Google, set timer 5 minutes. Okay, Google, set timer 5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes. Starting now.
Let's take a look at what I did real quick. See if we can get on the right screen for this. There we go. Alright. We are going to be at this for, let's see here, another 2 hours. And I would strongly recommend that people stick around to the end, because scientifically, when you're trying to study something, like spending 3 hours of time studying and practicing it is like the optimal time, especially in like drawing exercises. 3 hours of time spent practicing and studying something is the optimal amount of time it takes you to absorb information. The first hour is spent struggling, kind of warming yourself up. Second hour, you're kind of sliding into the groove a little bit. And the third hour is where the real learning, where stuff locks into place a little bit more. Like bits and pieces of what you're studying start clicking, even if it's in small chunks. So I would strongly recommend sticking around for the full 3 hours for the whole session, if you can, and in future sessions. If you can't, no big deal. You can rewatch my stream either through Twitch, where it's going to be saved for the next 14 days after the stream airs, or on YouTube, where I'm going to upload it and it'll be up there for future watching. Usually those go up about a day or two after the stream aired on Twitch. Yeah, so these are my warm-ups. This is like my first sketch of the day. And a bunch of these. Kind of playing with ovoid forms and box forms and other things. Building invented figures. Sort of riffing on the stuff that I've gathered that's in that Google album. More of the same, messing with different things. Some of these you might recognize as copies from as like somewhat copies from the reference. Same thing here. More warming up. And these were our demos. Well, I think some of these were the demos, yeah. Either demos or warm-ups. Yeah, warm-ups. But anyway, on my Patreon, high quality images of all of these demos are going to be available if you subscribe to my $5 tier on Patreon. I'm thinking of actually making low quality versions of the images available for the $1 tier on Patreon. I'll figure out that, but or I just might make them available for free. I don't know yet. Whatever. I'm trying to figure out what the incentives would be for that, to get people to subscribe, but also like still share what I'm working on or something. I don't know. Oh, that's the other thing. On my Patreon, I actually have a bunch of free images I put up in a recent post, and I've got another. After we get done with this, I've got 2 more posts on Patreon I've got to put up. Let's see here. So I'm gonna link in chat my my free Patreon post with 47 images in it that are like a bunch of tons of sketches and some class demos and other things that I've done over the last couple months. So I've linked that in Classroom chat and in Twitch chat. So feel free to check those out. It will be interesting to see like how to track my growth over these coming months. How my growth tracks over these coming months. I'm planning on putting a lot more mileage in this and just like ramping up and getting more efficient and focused about how I practice. Okay, Google, stop. All right, this next set will be 5s. So we're going to be going a little bit slower now, and we'll probably like do maybe 1 to 2 sessions of 5s, and then we'll also do 7s and maybe some 10s. So this class is still going to be about quick poses, while we're still kind of absorbing mannequins. But at some point in the future, we're going to be doing long poses, like a single session on a single 25-minute session on like one pose, for example. I'm not going to do that until I've like worked up my confidence to be able to properly demo for people how they should approach doing it. And some of the building blocks of what we're going to be using for that is the stuff that we're studying tonight. Yeah, take that Google Doc, that Google album folder I sent you, and use it throughout the week to study from. I'm going to maybe try to add some other images to that too after the class. I'm going to be trying making more repositories to share class materials and stuff. Most of the stuff that I find, I just yoink from Google image search and Pinterest. So there's no reason why I shouldn't make like that stuff available in a collection somewhere for the people who attend my workshops. I sure as hell wouldn't be making it available like on like a Patreon tier or something, because they're not my images. Make the reference a little. Oh shoot! I'm sorry. There we go. Sorry about that. I forgot to shift the OBS scene settings back over to the reference focus. Yeah, with the 5 minutes we have, if you're feeling uncomfortable about where you've gotten in the figure, maybe bring out some of the Google album stuff and put it on screen for yourself, or print it if you have a printer handy. Start copying from it, riffing from it. I'm going to be doing a bit of that myself tonight. Like, I'm going to be breaking down the model, kind of what I just did now, but I'm kind of done with that guy for this pose, so I'm going to draw something else. Just kind of loosen up a bit, or practice some other things that I kind of want to integrate into what I'm doing this evening. A little of both, Gamercraft. Gamercraft 255 asked in Twitch chat, do we just practice from the album instead, or use that to fit into the current pose? Both. I want you to bounce between both of them. Like, try maybe you can even try inventing a pose, kind of riffing on some of the principles you're seeing in both of like the cube. Maybe try inventing like inventing a pose using some of the stuff that's in the doc, or something similar to the ideas there. Like sort of what I'm doing right now. I've just invented like a triple cube sort of thing here. So I'm trying to learn how to use this stuff. Like I'm trying to like wrap my head around how to pliably use this on the fly. So keeping up some dexterity with it would be good. But you want to bounce between like using the reference photos, looking at the you want to bounce between looking at like the live action reference photos. You want to bounce between looking at the drawing manual stuff, and you want to bounce between inventing things you're on your own. Maybe with having that stuff up and open and near you, so you can kind of riff on it. Like for example, I'm not drawing that thigh that's up there on screen, but looking at that kind of reminds me of forms of the thigh, and then I think about maybe moving how I would draw a thigh into a different position or something. Like I want people to be free with this stuff and flexible with it as they start to try to kind of wrap their heads around how they're doing this. Is it okay if my cubes look a little different in perspective than yours? It can be. If you don't understand the rules of perspective, that might be a bit of an issue. But I mean, like, we're not going for perfection here. I want people to play with this and like see what goes right and what goes wrong with it for themselves. I want people to kind of like feel free to play with this stuff. Like these are building blocks to play with. Like you should not be afraid of these shapes. They are your friends to help you understand figures, and you'll learn how to use them in more complex ways the more that you draw them. Well, you don't have to stress out, Gamercraft. If you're stressing out, literally like you can just like dial it back to like just doing the triple cube thing, like a line of action, and then just really trying to get like a nicely executed trio of cubes. And then from there, you can use like two parallel lines, for example, for like a thigh, sort of like what I got here on this figure that I've invented. And I decided that the thigh maybe terminates at the knee bending here, for example. I just used two parallel lines like there. Put two parallel lines right there for the foot. I'm just playing with it. Can we use more organic shapes than squares to represent the torso? You can, but I would try to, if you're newer to this and if you're trying to orient yourself, I would dial it back to simplicity and stick to either cubes, or you can use an organic pliable shape of like some of you might be familiar with the Proco bean. You can use that. You can use the Proco bean for anyone who knows what I'm talking about with that. I might do a little demo of what that is in a second here. So what the Proco bean is essentially, it's a two-form exercise for doing the torso. Start with one kind of elliptical shape and one other elliptical shape, and then you connect them. You give them like a center line right here. You connect them with kind of like a fleshy mass between them, something like that. You usually have them follow a line of action, something like that. Is what we're doing the RoboBean? Kind of. It can be. If you know the bean or the RoboBean, you can use those right now. In fact, if anyone wants to do me a favor, link the bean and the RoboBean in chat from the Proco YouTube section in Discord. not Twitch. You won't be able to post links at Twitch. This guy's going to be a nice 5-minute pose here. I've done a bunch of invented figures here, kind of deviating from what was going on in the last pose. But I'm not doing them blindly. I've got my my Google album folder open with all that stuff I've been sharing with you guys, and I've got it near me, so I'm not just like blindly practicing. Some of it is kind of riffing on or copying what I'm seeing from the drawing manual folder that I shared earlier on Google Photos. So for this one, I'm gonna maybe follow the model a little closer, but I might not do the whole figure. I'll probably just do the torso. But I'll see. If I see an opportunity to add in the legs, even if it's just in a gesture form, I'll do that. So the goal this evening is to play with the idea of mannequinizing the figure. And if you're not getting it this session, no problem. Guess what? We're going to do this next session. We're going to do this next week too. We're also going to do this throughout the week. I'm going to have other sessions of this workshop. This in workshop form, not class form, throughout the next week. I'll probably have another one on Sunday too. So you'll be able to get even more mileage in. Workshops are typically not always streamed to Twitch, by the way. The workshops through our Discord are like usually uninstructed classes where we just do like time figure poses, and it's streamed directly to Discord as opposed to Twitch. What time zone is it for me? It's Pacific Standard Time for me. Okay, Google, what time is it?
It's 6:48 p.m.
No. Okay, Google, how much time left on timer?
It looks like you don't have any timers set at the moment.
That's not a problem. I'd say we have another 5 minutes, so I'm going to say, okay, Google, set timer for 7 minutes.
7 minutes. Starting now.
There we go. So we got the rest of this pose, and then one more pose after this, and then it's going to be a 5-minute break, okay? Actually, for the next one, I will do a screenshot of the pose, maybe. I'll do a quick draw-over demo to show you another thing you can do. You can do it now. You can do what I'm about to do now here during this drawing session if you like. You definitely will have time to during a 5-minute, 7-minute, or 10-minute pose. But taking a screenshot of the figure, importing it into your drawing app, and then drawing over it, trying to break it into box forms and ovoid forms and other things, would be an excellent way for you to kind of orient yourself a little bit to how to use these things. So the point of doing that, I mean, you might have seen Ethan Becker talk about using that, using the draw over technique as actually a means of getting you to the finish line with your drawing. You don't want to do that in a way that plagiarizes something, obviously, or just like straight up traces, but you want to break down and understand something. Like, let's take this guy, for example, who's on screen right now. Let me see if I have my keyboard that has the print screen function in here. Alright, here it is. Alright, so I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to import him into my drawing app. Real quick. Hang on one sec. There we go. I have to remove that real quick. I could have just imported the image itself from the folder, actually. Probably do that for the next ones I do. Alright, so I'm going to bring up the window capture again. Hopefully this is going to be big enough for people to see it when I do it. I might have to zoom in really close. Make sure it's good size for it. Yeah, you take something like this, lower opacity. Here, I'm going to bring up a image here that I can use as a point of reference for me for what I want to study off this guy. Alright, got it. So you take something like this. And after you lower the opacity on it, usually it's a good idea to maybe kind of feel out the line of action a little bit of the figure, something like that. Just the overall sweep of it. Tilt to the hips, tilt to the shoulders, something like that. Just something to kind of get you in there in the ballpark. And then go back through and you try to look for where you can make stuff into, I don't know, cubes or whatever other shape you're trying to break down the figure into. Something like that for the eye line. You can really slow down and do these too. You can do these really smoothly and nice looking. You can use these for anatomical studies too, like drawing muscle groups or bones or something on top of a photograph. Here, there's the pit of the neck right there. I'm just marking that. It's the top of the shoulder, just about. The collarbone is one of those complicated areas that I kind of want to like include a little bit of information about, just for my own purposes. So I'm just kind of like, a little cylinder for the neck there. But then let's see, how can I break this down into a cube? Well, so maybe say that this is the side plane, even though it probably isn't exactly that. Just kind of using this to kind of wrap my head around what I'm seeing here a bit. I can go down here to like pelvis, just about. Maybe instead of a straight up cube, I'll do this kind of shape. So this is more like the form of the pelvis. This kind of triangle wedge thing here. I'm gonna do like this simplified ball on either side for the socket of the thigh. I'm going to include like a little bit of kind of the mass of this connective tissue here. It goes between the torso and the pelvis. Include a little bit of the bottom of the rib cage right there. You can play with these however you want. I'm going to do like, let's say like a simplified cylinder kind of shape here. I'm not doing this really dirty and sketchy. Like, you could really slow down and do these. I'm doing this kind of rush because I just kind of want to get this in before the time ends. But you can really slow down and like meditate on these if you want. I've done in some of the videos that I've recorded in previous classes. I've done like much slower, more methodical drawovers with cleaner lines. Anyway, we'll pause it there. Okay, Google, set timer for 5 minutes.
Second timer for 5 minutes. And we're starting now.
Okay, Google, cancel first timer.
It looks like you have 2 timers. So which did you want to cancel? The 7-minute one or the 5-minute one?
Never mind.
No problem, they're still set.
Okay, Google, stop. Okay, Google, add 1 minute to timer.
Done, 1 minute added to your timer.
Alright, so we're on a 5-minute break. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you can use this to kind of reorient yourself a bit, play with the shapes and stuff. You start to, when you do this kind of stuff, you start to internalize the forms of the thing you're drawing on top of. That's also why you want to use this to draw over. You want to use this to draw over like really good artwork, also, to learn from it. Like you could do this over really good illustrators you like, or really good animation artists you like. We're probably going to do some of that tomorrow too, actually. We definitely will do some of that tomorrow. Because that's a necessity in order to learn a character's model. Yeah, that's what we're going to be working on tomorrow to put in from a cartooning standpoint. I'm probably going to focus on Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles characters, just because like it seemed like something fun that I want to absorb information from. But people are welcome. People are going to be welcome to use whatever they want. I will be making a lineup of stuff to use tomorrow. Cool thing about doing these two is they can help you wrap your head a little bit more around proportion and direction and so on. So that leg is going away from us right there. This leg is coming a little bit more towards us, but not quite. It's kind of straight on, but it is coming a little bit more towards us. I'm going to include maybe some of this now. But I strongly recommend, I have been neglecting this actually, I strongly recommend making photo drawovers a regular part of your practice. That's something that I should have been doing more of that I kind of have neglected lately. And I'm going to encourage everyone here to do it. Yeah, that's a fairly successful study. I think this arm is a little stiff now because I just did like a simple cylinder on it without really much variation. So I can go back in there and loosen it up a little bit maybe. But it's a pretty fun study. Yeah, I'm gonna go back in the face a little bit and do some of this. Like got this kind of raccoon eye sort of thing for the people from our head drawing class might recognize from the Riley method a little bit of some of the structures of the Riley method heads that I'm just kind of quickly scribbling in here. So I'm just trying to have fun with it and just have confidence that I'm going to get better at this the more I do it. So I'm not getting locked up or held down at a particular moment in this. I'm like the main secret sauce that's happening with me right now with the mileage that I've been putting in is my hand and eye dexterity is improving from just doing this regularly. And so I'm gonna have to have faith that the more of this I do, the more dexterity I'll have to be able to pull off the designs and the observations that I need. When will be the face drawing class? You mean the head drawing class? That is Mondays, and that's 5:30 p.m. Pacific time to 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. I really struggle with the face proportions and the SAR head thing. Like I said, you can do drawovers of those. Lay down some tracing paper on it, or lower opacity in a digital drawing program. If you print out a physical copy of it, you can like lay down some tracing paper on the Asaro head, on the image of the Asaro head, and draw it. And I would recommend buying one of them. Because then you can use it yourself. Okay, Google, stop. Let's get that off screen. Alright, so this next set will be another set of 5s. Okay, Google, set timer for 25 minutes. I hope that this image is not too low resolution. That's a little crunchy for 5 minutes. Let's maybe find some better quality images in here. Okay, that'll work. A lot of underwear models in this. Underwear and swimsuit, like swim trunk models. I kind of had to be really careful about what I included in here because there was a lot of art nudes that came up when I was looking for figure reference. And I can't show art nudes on Twitch, sadly. I hope they address that in the future, though, because I really would like to teach art nudes here. Maybe because like I'm one of the regular teachers here on Twitch, like Twitch might actually listen to me in the future. I don't know. Maybe I get my class attendees to petition Twitch about it in the future. That might help. I'm sure I'm not the only one here who wants to teach with art nudes, but can't for, you know. I'm not sure how they would do it. Like, I think that you'd have to, like, for Twitch to do it, I think they'd have to, like, do it with a partner, a vetted partner, who has good judgment on being able to, like not use stuff that is, like, too pornographic or something. And then there's, like, a maturity warning for the stream when people log into it or something. Educational art nudes warning or something. I don't know. I hope they address that in the future, because I'd like to teach what I like. It's going to open up a lot more for like learning here if we can teach with art nudes. And also a lot of streamers will be able to, streamers who currently stream to like Picardo and stuff, who do tasteful nudity, would be able to stream through this platform as well. If you notice, like, I'm using a little bit more complex shapes here. I don't necessarily recommend going this complicated, because I'm kind of getting lost in stuff that's a little bit too complex right now. But I'm going to go back through and maybe see like where I can pick out shapes to kind of push and simplify a bit. Again, these are just tools to help you interpret, to design, to play with. Sometimes you'll try to get something that's close to what the model is actually doing. Sometimes you'll try to go beyond it. Sometimes you won't even follow the model at all. You just kind of riff on some of the things that are happening there to invent something. You should feel free to play with these shapes. World Wadera, I have a lecture on perspective that you can check out that I did myself, actually. I think I sourced some other sources in it that you can also go to. But I taught it as part of my storyboard class. I'll link it in chat here so you can check it out for yourself later. But it'll help you wrap your head around some the perspective concepts that you're having trouble with. Here we go. I found it. I will link it in chat now. There we go. There's my perspective lecture. And there is my perspective lecture, both in Discord chat and in Twitch chat. And my perspective lecture is actually basically a regurgitation of perspective stuff about perspective from there was a bonus topic matter from Steve On's drawing course that I took a long while ago. I took extensive notes on their perspective class and had those handy for me to regurgitate for you all. But I do source some books in there and some other things for you to check out. And also the Drawbox website goes over the rules of perspective too. For newcomers and people, and also maybe intermediate advanced people who struggle with perspective or who just want something that can give you some good core fundamentals workouts, I strongly recommend checking out the drawbox.com site. It will, and make sure you read the text and watch the videos in it. It's very important that you read the text. You don't just rush in and do the exercises. The text tells you how to do the exercises properly and without burning yourself out and getting the value out of them that you need to get out of them. There's been multiple people who I've pointed to the Drawbox site. They didn't read the text and they immediately rushed into just drawing boxes because they think that's what the site is about, and they immediately got burned out. No, read the text very carefully on Drawbox, and read it and reread it, and watch the videos that are embedded in the pages on the lessons. It's a little inventive guy there. I want also like I said earlier too, I also want people to try, in between these poses, try inventing something using some of these, maybe invent a pose. You don't always have to draw the model every time in this session, anyway. In the future, we're going to be doing long figure poses where you probably definitely should. But I want people to get used to the idea of playing with the mannequin. Playing with the mannequinization of the figure. Using the boxes, using cylinders, using interlinking shapes in different combinations and trying to piece together something. That's the other thing. If you are struggling with this, you will start having fun with it if you start doing it every day. Like the stuff that you're struggling with gets way easier if you're clocking in like 3 hours of practicing, at least 3 hours of practicing this every day. More if you're able to. Like that's my aim right now. I'm going to be trying to get around 6 to 9 hours of practice a day if I can help it on like most of my main days. I'm getting close to that with like, so I did like 3 hours of prep before I started this class, or actually about, I think it was about 2 hours of drawing prep total before I started this class, and now I'm getting 3 more hours of drawing in with all of you. So you should maybe continue, like, I would take a break after you get done with this class. But maybe draw some more this evening. Even if it's just a little sketching before bed or something. Or when you know that I'm going to have a class for the day, maybe warm up and prep. And maybe practice some of the stuff that I taught last week or something. Or get a bunch of images from the internet for you to practice from, like a bunch of figure poses and stuff. Or rewatch one of my lectures from last time on YouTube and get a little practice session in. I do encourage people to do that, by the way, because of the way I'm teaching with these time figure poses. You can watch my previous sessions on YouTube and redo the figure session, like with time poses and stuff. Oh, we've seen this guy before, haven't we? I think he only showed up during my demo, though. But again, if you don't want to draw him, you can refer to some of your drawing manual stuff from that Google Photos album that I shared in chat, and practice some from that or riff on it, kind of like what I'm doing now. I've got a page that I'm open on that I'm sort of absorbing something from while inventing something off of it. You want to turn these shapes into your friends, and you get there by clocking and using them a lot. That's what's starting to happen with me, with the amount of practice I've been putting in, and I want to keep it going, and we'll be keeping that going tomorrow, and on Sunday probably. I'm going to see if I can schedule a uninstructed figure workshop on Sunday. Maybe I will make it a head quick sketch session, or partial head quick sketch session, because Monday is the head drawing class, so why not get warmed up on a bunch of heads, you know? Make friends by using them. It's more like make friends by engaging with them. Engage with your friends. That's what you do when you use these shapes. You engage with them. You make them your pals. These boxes and cubes and cylinders become construction tools of your your growing artistic fluency. Whoops! What the hell just happened? That was weird. Too late to change your quote. Yeah. Rip. Spacedad is cancelled. No takebacks in art. There's no crying in baseball, and there's no takebacks in art. You can't correct any mistakes. Don't you ever fix any of your mistakes. I hope most people realize when a lot of the stuff Ethan does in he tries to make it really obvious, but most of the stuff he does in his videos is like blatantly tongue-in-cheek. Like those takedowns, all those takedowns that he does, so-called takedowns he does of artists are good-natured. Some of them have like valid critique sprinkled in with like genuine admiration for the person's work. And I hope more people read between the lines. Like the "don't you ever" just means hey, here's an interesting way to break out of your comfort zone and try something else. If you're locked into a certain way of doing things, but "don't you ever" doesn't actually mean don't ever. That's the joke. Yeah, well, I've had a lot of practice, and someone in Twitch chat said that I sound just like Ethan with that, doing that voice. Yeah, me and a lot of other people in our Discord have had a lot of practice doing spoofs of Ethan for the last few months. I wish he showed up more regularly in the Discord, but things would get crazy if he did. He sometimes shows up. He mainly sometimes shows up in like the private channels that like regular people, that the regular plebs in the Discord can't see. But he's usually really busy with stuff. Like he's working on production stuff right now. But he's a rad dude. And I'm more than happy to piggyback off of someone way more talented than me, who's been very generous and very courteous about this growing art community that's grown around his Discord server. That's the way it should be, shouldn't it? Like, people who lack confidence, who are trying to get better at what they do, hook up with other artists that are really, really well off. They learn from them. They grow on their own. That's what I'm hoping a lot of you people in here will do, too. Start making pals of your own. Start making art study buddies. And networking and stuff. There's nothing parasitic about any of that. You learn from people who are better than you. Just keep yourself humble. Like, I suck. I suck at art. I suck. I'm terrible. I'm not saying that to fish for compliments. I genuinely need a lot more practice. But that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here with all of you guys. We're all learning together. And the stuff I learn, I'm going to try to regurgitate to you guys. And like the observations that I make about stuff that's working for me, like the 3-hour practice regimen that I'm starting to use every day, I will let you guys in on, so you can try using it for yourself. And I will be very excited to see where I'm going to go in like a year or two from now. Well, we all got to start somewhere. Little baby Zergling, who said, "If you suck, then I'm trash." I'm trash. Keep yourself humble. Always keep yourself humble, even if you get really experienced. I need to keep myself humble because I'm not really good. I can't get Dunning-Kruger effect about how fucking amazing I am. I need to be constantly second guessing myself because I have a lot of growing to do. But like, if you look at it, like all the best, like almost all the best artists were like, are if you really like look at how they approach their art, whatever, and not even just visual arts, like music. A lot of the best artists, like most of like the really really good ones that are like really great at technical skill, not just like flashy egomaniac bullshit, but like the people that are really really like good, like the hardcore technical skill that's involved with music making or stuff, or making art and stuff like that. Like, those people tend to be really humble, and they also tend to put themselves down in a healthy way about how little they actually know, and they never stop learning. They never stop being a student for the rest of their life. Like, if we had immortality, then a lot of the master artists who've achieved amazing things in their life would be able to achieve the level of mastery that they really wanted to go for. But we only have so much we can do in the time we have left. So, on this planet. So, make the most of what you got. Maybe specialize in something that you're really good at for your life. And get good at it, and get good at it. Preferably get good at something that you really enjoy doing. Okay, Google, how much time left on timer?
It looks like you don't have any timers set at the moment.
Let's see, how long have we been at this? I think it's been close to the full amount of time for that, so I'm going to give us a 5-minute break. You can optionally draw this guy here. Okay, Google, set timer 5 minutes. Oh, it's been 20 minutes? Okay, well, we'll keep drawing then. Okay, Google, set timer 5 minutes. Okay, Google, set timer 4 minutes, 30 seconds.
4 minutes and 30 seconds. And that's starting now.
So we got this one, and then we're going to go on a 5-minute break. So draw this pose. I don't think I have any room to draw this pose. I haven't even started drawing this pose for the full 5 minutes. Oh no. But yeah, another thing, like, the reason why you want to put in that practice mileage all throughout the week, so that when you sit down at like a drawing session, like a drawing class like this, you're not coming in here like totally cold. I mean, it's okay to do that if this is the only time during the week that you can find to draw, but if you can manage it, get like 3 hours of pretty consistent practice every day, if you can manage. You do that, and you come in here to sit down to draw, you're going to be functioning at a much higher level, and you're not going to be struggling to get started as much. You're going to be able to pick up where you left off the last day a lot easier. And you're going to be able to build on what you're learning a lot easier. And stuff will start to click and come together. And your manual dexterity will start to click. Will you do perspective classes? I did a perspective class. I will probably do another one in the future. I want to get better at perspective, so yeah, we will definitely cover that topic again in the future. But I linked a perspective lecture I gave that's up on YouTube in the chat earlier. It's also linked in Discord in the classroom chat section if you want to take a look at it. I would strongly recommend people check out my YouTube for class replays, I'll try to maybe organize them by playlist, by semester or something in the future, or make the labels on them a little clearer as to what's in them. But I go over a lot of key concepts in some of them. Also, full disclosure, some of the classes are better quality than others for a number of reasons. Like some of them I was better prepared. I was like, for last semester, I was really doing a lot of trial and error to figure out how to teach. So some classes I'm a little bit more confident teaching in than others. In the future, I want to teach animation again. But I think I want to concentrate right now on getting draftsmanship skills up. Because I feel like that's going to pay off more for me. I'll be able to draw much better animation if I have my draftsmanship skills vastly improved. But I'll try to fit in some way of like practicing a little bit of animation if I can. Gotta keep that fire burning a bit. I think what might actually wind up happening is it's like I'll just do like just from sheer volume of the insane amount of figure drawing that I'm putting in. I think at some point it feels like something's gonna click. Where it's like, oh, you know, I just go right in and start animating this figure. I know the figure pretty well, so I can just feel comfortable about animating something with posing it out. I kind of feel like that might be where it's heading. For me doing way more of these and fitting the puzzle pieces together and clocking in the mileage. Okay, Google, set timer 5 minutes.
Second timer for 5 minutes. And that's starting now.
Okay, Google, stop. We are on a 5-minute break now. I'm going to actually get up and walk around a bit. How do people feel about 7-minute poses for the next session? Eberbell says, I'm starting to see now that I tend to burn out in 20 minutes. So I think from now on I'll do 20 of drawing, then review what I've done for the extra 5. That's not a bad idea. You could draw over your other drawings. I would say though, like, you shouldn't sell yourself short. I think that the reason why part of the reason why you're feeling burned out after 20 minutes is you probably don't have enough stamina just yet to concentrate for the full 20 minutes. And also, you gotta learn how to pace yourself. Like, one way you can do that is you do more you slow down and you think before you draw, so that you're spending less time doing exhausting yourself, making lots of lines, and you spend more time thinking about what you're seeing and observing it. That's a habit I actually need to start building in myself. I actually have been doing it, but right now I'm just kind of vibing, so I'm not really concentrating on doing that. Well, it's more, so you're, is Rebel, yeah, Rebel, how do you pronounce your name? But, okay, they're saying in chat, well, it's more that I'm burning out because I committed myself to standing up. I can concentrate for hours on end and have done, but standing, I'm too lazy for that. So if you're doing standing desk type stuff, that can kind of potentially tire you out. You probably, the secret to doing standing desk stuff is to have a stool that's at like, close to standing height behind you so you can rest on it. In the future, I actually want to get like a kind of standing desk set up where I can raise and lower the desk with electronically or something. And there's so much stuff I want to buy. I need to make serious money for. I don't think I can rely on donations alone. At some point, I'm going to have to really start. I'm going to have to start applying for gigs in the animation industry. I'm in a financially stable situation right now, where like the money that I get from this disc, like I'm fine as far as like my basic needs are taken care of and stuff. But like if I want to improve the quality of the Discord, the quality of the classes and stuff, or buy extra fun things, I kind of need donations and stuff. The donations so far, like 90 to 99% of them, actually all 100% of them have gone to. Actually, no, that's not true. There was one somewhat fun thing that I bought for myself with it, but 90 to 99% of the donations have gone to improving the class or equipment that would help improve the class. With class donation money, okay, Google, stop. The class donation money, I was able to buy a 6 terabyte serial, 72 RPM serial hard drive for my PC, which I'm using as backup storage. And I've been able to afford a year's subscription, prepaid, from to Adobe Creative Cloud, which I'm going to start also using during my streams in the future, because I got a whole bunch of Photoshop art tutorials I purchased like little under a year ago that I want to comb through. Yeah, hearts out to those who donated. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone who donated. There's going to be a lot more interesting things on my Patreon in the near future too. Like, going to be continually updating that. Anyway, let's get started on our 7s. So, let's get out of that. Other 7. Oh yeah, also something I'm not really looking forward to. I've got to maybe tighten the screws on my CPU cooler on my new PC because it's running a little hot. And I think it's because the heat spreader is a little loose. Thank you, Courier42, for the Prime subscription. Every little bit helps. Whether it's bits, whether it's subscriptions on, whether it's subs in Twitch, or, okay, Google, set timer for 25 minutes.
Alright, 25 minutes. Starting now.
Whether it's bits, whether it's direct donations to my donation link down below my Ko-fi page, whether it's Patreon subscriptions, and there's going to be more Patreon content coming pretty soon too. Every little bit helps, and every little bit will help grow the channel, and help me upgrade things so I can do more interesting stuff. One of the things I'm going to budget for also in the future with donations is an art class. I'm going to see if I'm going to see somewhere around the time when I start getting a pretty steady volume of donations, and maybe kind of like figure maybe I could probably budget for this in the time frame I have, and that there's not any major equipment purchases that I really need to have. I should budget for a class that I'm going to take myself, like a Concept Design Academy class or Brainstorm Academy class, one of those really good online art school classes. If you notice, I'm not strictly following the model right now. I'm continuing on this invented figure that I started right now, but I will be joining to do the other 7-minute poses after I get done with this guy. You know, for fun, after we get done with this session, let's maybe do an ArtStation deep dive. I like doing those on stream, where we like check out really cool art that we can find on ArtStation. Let's do that after this is over. Everyone's going to stick around for the full time here. Stick around at the end. We will go together on an adventure into ArtStation and find some cool artists to check out. Maybe discover some new ones we haven't seen before, or I can share some work of some of the artists that I've liked in the last few weeks. Some of them might be good study fodder for tomorrow, in fact. For tomorrow's like animation character drawing class. Alright, I got about 4 minutes on this dude. Maybe I'm going to go back to him and do a little study on him. You'd think it would get like more tiring to clock in that mileage every day, but once you work up your stamina to be able to pace yourself to do it, it actually winds up making things a lot easier. It's like if you're doing this every day, then you're kind of getting in good shape, and you are limbered up to do it again and again every day. If that makes any sense. I mean, it's kind of like if you're a surfer or something, if you're doing surfing every day, then it feels really good to surf every day, you know? So it's not as much of a struggle to get started. So if you notice, I'm using something a little different than those cube forms. I'm using something that some of the people here might be familiar with, which is an approach to figure drawing that we're going to get into in the future called the Riley method. We've done heads in the Riley method in our head drawing class. But this is some rhythms for the Riley method right here that I'm using, this kind of weird double hourglass thing that's going on here. I'm just playing with it. I'm not too committed to this guy. I'm just playing with his general body shape. I'm not really even sticking strictly to his body type right now. I'm playing with my building blocks, and it's cool and it's fine. So I'm clocking in the mileage every day. I don't have to make every drawing I make perfect. Every day I'm gonna be doing some more of this. I'm gonna be absorbing little bits and pieces more of information, getting more momentum, learning more things, getting more dexterity up to be able to do more things. That's what all of you should be looking forward to if you're clocking in the mileage every day. The mileage and the studies that you need to do. It's going to be on you guys here to figure out how you, figure out for yourself how you best learn. You have to figure that out. You're not always going to be in a class. You're not always going to have an instructor or a mentor that you can rely on, although that would be really helpful. I strongly recommend get enrolled in a good-ass art class with a good-ass art teacher. Preferably not me. At least not for now. But, these are free, so take what you can get. But I mean, like paid art classes, like the ones that I'm interested in enrolling in, like the one by really good instructors, like Watts Atelier, Brainstorm Academy, Concept Design Academy, Studio Technique. I think New Masters Academy has something too now. But enroll in a really good figure drawing or whatever other subject it is you're studying class, and that will shortcut the process for you, because you will have access to somebody with an experienced hand and eye who can point out your mistakes and tell you what to focus on and help you unlearn bad habits that you have. Like when I get into a good class, the instructor is going to be pulling his hair out to a certain extent with me for all the bad habits I built up over self-teaching for so long. But I'm trying to wrap my head around better ways of studying and practicing, so I will be able to potentially unlearn my own bad habits on my own. Partly through observing like video or whatever of really good draftsmen doing art demos and stuff, or talking to my peers. Like I've gotten good tips from a lot of the really experienced people in the Discord who helped me out too. I'm going to be digging more into that as well going forward. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you are clocking in the regular mileage, it liberates you, because then, like, it's like, oh, if I don't get this right, doesn't matter. I'm going to be doing a trillion or more of these. Tons more I can do. I might only learn one or two things doing this, but it's just another stepping stone. Like, the pressure's off when you hit the right kind of ratio of how much you need to put in without burning, how much you need to put into practice and study without burning yourself out. So I'm going like with a way more gestural approach to this, kind of just playing with it, playing with maybe trying to see what angular shapes I can put in at certain areas. In addition to the gesture. The Riley method. Riley method is what was originally created by a artist named Frank Riley, and it is a method that is mostly like passed down by his students, because I think he passed away before he could really record it, but his students recorded it as best they could. But it was a kind of a systematized approach to breaking down the shapes of the human figure and the face and stuff, and it's a really fantastic approach to finding rhythmical rhyming kind of lines in the forms of the figure or the face. Or in animals, for that matter. Riley method works on animals as well. But we'll be going more into the Riley method in the future, in this class and in other stuff. We're going to be going back into Riley method again in the future in our head drawing class. Next week for head drawing class, we'll be covering the simple Asaro head again, I believe. Yeah. So last week was skull. This week will be simple Asaro head. I'm doing a lot of like drawing over the same lines, which is not really helpful to me. I think that's a habit I gotta watch out for in the future. Or or just in general. Maybe in the future I can watch it right now. Yeah, the lemon slices method, I actually have not really been going into that one. I should maybe look into that, actually. Because that one seems to be a fond one that, like, manga artists and action storyboard artists like using a lot. Yeah, the lemon slices method is kind of like breaking the figure into sort of wedged shapes that are kind of like lemon slices. Almost like triangular bits. I'm gonna have to look up more on it, actually. Yeah. Ethan Becker's YouTube channel, where's that? No, I've seen the video where he talks about it. I just haven't really, like, tried to apply it myself. I've seen other videos, like, I kind of, like, skimmed through other artist videos on the subject. So I know of it, I just really haven't applied it. Should maybe consider doing that. Seems kind of weird, like, I've since I joined the Discord, I've actually been watching Ethan's channel less, because it seems I don't know what it is, like, I think all the instructors here have kind of lapsed into doing that. Not on purpose, but it's like we because we're instructors in his Discord, we sort of take his channel's content for granted somehow. It's weird. When, you know, it might be a good idea for me to maybe, you know, apply some of the stuff that's in his actual videos, maybe, you know, maybe. Don't be an idiot, Spacedad. Yeah. Don't be stupid, dumb, stupid head. Maybe apply stuff that's like moving literally in the direction that you want to move in, instead of faffing about. How about that there, buddy? Yeah. I think that's a good idea, actually. I should look at some Ethan Becker videos after this. It would be hilarious, like, if I started, like, running Ethan Becker videos on stream and got copyright stricken for it. It's like, I volunteer for him. Oh my god. Remove that. Do this. Alright, let's see if I can maybe discipline myself to slow down for this one. Even if I'm just doing the torso. For like the full 7 minutes. Did we? Should we skip this guy? How about, let's find a good one that maybe we haven't done before. That's a pretty good one. Also, thank you so much to people who have stuck around through this. Okay, Google, how much time left on timer?
9 minutes and 52 seconds to go.
Awesome. I will actually, I will actually, let's use this pose for the next 9 minutes or so. So when the timer buzzes, will be when the Google timer buzzes, that will be when we're done with this one. So there is some distortion going on here. You can see it on his back arm especially. But you can also see it in the foreground on his fist. That's in the foreground. You can maybe try to leave that distortion out if you're not too comfortable with doing it. Or you can try pushing it and exaggerating it. But if you understand a little bit of the rules of perspective, then you can maybe use this as an opportunity to kind of play with it a bit. Like do a little ground plane here for the dude. Let's see here. How can I fit this together? This dude is hella beefy. I can even shrink that fist even more to reinforce that. Maybe beef up the head size a bit. I've got a whole, 4 minutes to kind of play with this some more, so. Any of you watch a art Twitch streamer, John Silva? I often host in him, and I've hung out in his. He recognizes me when I'm in his channel, although I don't think he knows what I've been up to lately with the Ethan Becker stuff. He just recognizes me from being like a regular in his chat from a while ago. That's all. Nothing special. Yeah, he's really freaking awesome, and he's mostly self-taught, by the way. He just has like a severe amount of determination. I mean, he's working for clients like Riot Games and Blizzard and stuff, so he's proof that with enough determination and taking initiative on your drawing training, like it's like he's self-taught, but he was taking feedback from peers to get it improve his skills and stuff. He just hadn't been enrolled in any formal classes, and he was using online resources. So like the term self-taught is a little deceptive, especially these days. He gets like feedback from his peers and stuff. And that's how he's gotten so good. Among other things. Like a lot of the people who say, "Oh, I'm self-taught," chances are what they've gone through is like what they've gone through in the course of their art studies is the equivalent to being in a class. If you really scrutinize what they've actually done to get good. Peer feedback from people who know their shit, for example, that's as valuable as learning from a skilled instructor. Would be interested in like finding out from him like the specific ways he saw like the best group, like the most growth he got out of his self-teaching. Yeah, so this is looking a little weird. Like you can see I'm starting to get a little flat because I'm not relying on like the cubic shapes that we were using as much. Like this is looking really flat right here. That's okay. I just wanted to see what would happen if I disciplined myself to draw this for the full 7 minutes. Or actually 10 minutes. Yeah, that's right. Let me reset this there. Alright, so we're going to stop when the Google timer stops. Okay, Google, how much time left on timer?
T minus 3 minutes and 51 seconds.
Alrighty. Well, we're going to go on an ArtStation deep dive after one more session of time poses. I might make our last session 10-minute poses, if people are down with that. Yeah, that back thigh is looking really stubby. Because I'm trying to like do the back thigh in proportion to how it is in perspective, but I don't have any cues on screen that kind of telegraph the perspective that's happening there, so it's kind of throwing me off. And so it just looks it looks like the thigh is kind of wedged into the wrong part of the hip or something. This is one of those things that I'd probably want to like take the, you know what, I'm going to do that. Let's take this image. I'll import the export I have of it into the drawing, into the drawing app, and do a draw over of it. Oops, that's not it. Oh, where are you, beef? Come on. It's very hard to spot this beefy man. There he is. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to do a draw over this. Actually, I'm going to put this on transparency and see where I fucked up. I wasn't really necessarily trying to follow it exactly, but, you know, let's just see what happens when I do a transparency. Okay, so I'll maybe use the torso as my proportional anchor point of comparison, something like that. Might be a bit large. Yeah, he looks like a midget from how I drew him when you really see them side by side. But I mean, like, it's not easy to do stuff like this. It's really tricky. It's a really tricky shot here to do without doing what I'm about to do, which is draw over him. So break down that pelvis into kind of slightly triangular wedge. Top of the rib cage is going to be kind of bendy cube top. Bend that about here, let's say, something like that. Beefy shoulder, I'm just going to do that with. There is like a bit of the, like, there's his shoulders here, and then there's like a bit of the muscles and scapula sticking out back there on his back, I think. Let's get that center line in there, down the pit of the crotch. Let's see if I can spot maybe the corners of the shoulder. I think that's one of them there. Okay, Google, stop. So we'll pause on this guy. Okay, Google, set timer 5 minutes. I'm going to keep going with this little draw over I'm doing. Okay, Google, set timer 5 minutes.
5 minutes, starting now.
Let's see, I'll just do like simple cylindrical gestural lines for his limbs. So our last session tonight will be, I want to say 10-minute poses. And I think for this last session, let's try something unusual. let's take the image that comes up, copy paste that into your drawing app, if you can, and do a draw over for like 5 minutes. Then for the other 5 minutes, try doing a freehand version of it alongside it. So let's do that for the last thing we do tonight. Because I want people to get in the habit of doing draw-overs to learn from stuff. You do a draw-over, and then you try to do a freehand version of it after you do the draw-over. And I know I'm going really detailed with this guy right now, but for the purposes of our draw-overs, let's try to keep them to simple shapes that you can do in like 5 minutes. Like very simple shapes. I'm going to try to do that myself. So as always, the homework in this class is entirely optional. And my homework this week for you is to practice from that Google album, that Google photo album I shared in class. And maybe acquire some of your own, but preferably try to be really, really scrutinizing about picking good stuff in that vein. Like, you want to not pick stuff that is badly drawn, or just like it tends to be like a copy of someone else's work or something. You want to pick stuff that's really well done by a really good draftsman to study and practice from, generally speaking. For the most part, that little folder I have, I'm going to be adding more stuff to it throughout the week, but that one has a lot of good stuff in it. If there's something in it that's kind of weak, I might take it out, actually. But I think mostly what I got in there is good. So study from that. Do draw-overs like this, and also do more timed figure poses. It's also a good idea after you do a draw-over like this to do a freehand version of it. No, I'm not gonna do that right now, but let me see. I'm gonna try to kind of like do a little along the lines of how simple I want to keep the draw-overs I'm gonna do for the remainder of this session. I really like that kind of use of this circle as just like a simple way to position the deltoid. The deltoid is a really complex piece of muscle and bone, so simplifying it along those lines is really helpful for me. If you go a little too complicated, you can go over like what I just did now and try to simplify it. Okay, Google, stop. All right. So what I'll have us do 2 10s and then a 5, something like that. I don't know. So, all right. So when we do these, you can either do them straight as 10 minutes, or you can copy paste them into your drawing app of choice. Actually, you know what? I think it'd be a good idea if I did this. So 12 minutes. These will be 12 minutes, and that's like 2 minutes for everyone to make sure that you have the image imported into your drawing app that you screenshot from the screen. And let's get started. It'll be two 12-minute poses with 2 minutes to 2 minutes extra for people to import the image. So let's find our first image, and then we'll start the timer. Gotta find a really suitable image that'll last the whole 12 minutes. Let's see. That's pretty good, I'd say. Okay. Okay, Google, set timer 24 minutes.
24 minutes. Starting now.
Alright, so screenshot and import this into your drawing app. Or you can just start drawing it straight away. So I actually have the image in the folder, so I'm just going to import it directly into my drawing app. There it is. I'm going to do a draw over of it, followed by a freehand version of it. Lower opacity. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to try to... Let's get the longest axis of the pose first. That. Just getting a line of action in, just to start me off. I'll lower opacity on that. Make it really low. There. And now, I feel confident that I can go in and... Actually, I'm going to let it even more. Now I feel confident that I can go in, maybe start with the top of the shoulders, to create kind of a cubic shape. Get kind of a bendy cube here going. About. So how is the pelvis positioned? Kind of looks like even though we can see part of the back of the buttocks here, I'm going to say that the brick of the pelvis is facing away from us, and so it's more like this. Something like this, maybe. This is just a guesstimate. It's tricky. I got this simple shape sort of playing off the rhythm of the simple cubic line with the torso. I'll do something like that for the rest of the arm, I think. Keep it really simple and rhythmical, like that to start. And then I do a little ellipse here, little ellipse there. Ellipse here, kind of break up the shape a bit. The thing is heavily foreshortened actually, so it should be more like this. More of the circle will be coming towards us. That's a tricky spot. Let's get the front of the face of the cube that's going to contain his head. Like that. Alright, where could I go next with this? So maybe raise that shoulder up slightly. Let's get the basic gesture lines in for the arm over here. Yeah, if you're doing this traditionally, just draw, pretty much. Just do your best. This is a flexible class for any kind of drawing exercises you want to do. But if you're doing it traditionally, I would suggest printing out. You could, if you don't have tracing paper, you can lower the opacity of the image that you print out, and then draw over it directly from the printer paper that you printed it on. In the future, when you're able to print out images to do studies like these from. Really handy. Get some tracing paper though. Tracing paper is an essential tool of learning draftsmanship skills. You use it to solve problems, to help break down shapes and stuff. The same way that you do when you lower opacity on something to do studies like this. So I'm not really trying to solve drawing problems per se with this, but I'm trying to learn here. A lot of times when you have reference like this for like an art piece you're working on or something, you will use this to solve your drawing problems. You might do studies like this to understand the thing you're trying to pull away from this for like a piece of animation or a character design or a comic or whatever that you're working on. You should get in the habit of doing studies like this alongside whatever professional work you're doing, or commission work, or what have you. So I'm adding a little bit of people from my gesture drawing class will recognize the tornado in here. Because I felt like I wanted a little bit of a sense of volume there. And these are mostly for you when you do these. These are for you to kind of gut check yourself a bit and absorb some things. It's like, oh man, if only I could get like shapes as nice as that when I'm doing observation drawing. Well, guess what? If you're doing a finished illustration and you have your own reference handy, you can do stuff like this and use it almost directly in the final illustration. I would suggest making your own photo reference when you do that, though, because you can get in trouble with copyright holders of photographs, potentially, otherwise. Also, it's an artistic skill in and of itself to create your own photo reference, too, so. We might have a workshop on some of that in the future, actually. But a lot of times, in order to finish pieces, a lot of professional artists will use like random useful photos that they've cobbled together from the internet. Ooh, I've only got 3 minutes. Tricky. what can I pull from this guy? Well, I'm not really confident that I'd be able to like replicate exactly what he's doing. So I'm just going to kind of distort it a bit. Actually, let's try this. I got 3 minutes to do this, 2 minutes 30 seconds to do this. Maybe I'll do a scribble drawing, playing with the thing I just did. Maybe make it more cartoon-like. So I'm doing a continuous line scribble drawing right here, which is another exercise I'm going to be going over in a future gesture drawing class session on Wednesdays. But this is another tool in the toolbox to help you figure out stuff, or to get you to the finish line of figuring out drawing problems. In this case, I use that as a starting point, and now I'm going to go, after lowering opacity on it, and try pushing it. I'm going to try treating this guy a little more like an animated character, kind of, and pushing his pose. So this is kind of almost a way to segue into what we're going to be doing tomorrow with animated characters. And all I did there was I was improvising with the time I had left. If I had more time, I'd probably try to do something that's a little bit more along the lines of the draw-over I did. But since I understand like the forms of it a little bit, now I want to play with maybe pushing the gesture. Alright, so I'm going to pick another better pose than that for our next and last pose of the evening. Let's see if we can find one of these that is last pose material. Maybe. What do you guys think of that? Yeah, let's use that. That's our last pose of the evening. Alright, so get ready to import the image into your drawing file, your drawing program of choice. Does the fan sound coming through your mic, by the way, very loud and slightly distracting? Yes, I know. I'm gonna have to adjust my there's like fan filters, noise filter stuff I can use in OBS to get rid of that. But I need to start tweaking with that. It might have been my computer system. Because there's also that. Or it might be the air conditioning that was outside, actually. Is that a tie around his waist? Yes, it is. So this one you're going to actually need to draw over on, I think, because like he's wearing a shirt, so the usual landmarks on his torso are going to be a little harder to spot. Which can throw you off a little bit if we've been drawing like shirtless dudes all evening. On the agenda this evening, as after I get done with this class, I'm gonna be doing more reference photo hunting for tomorrow's class. Well, let's do like after we get done with this last pose of the evening, let's do that ArtStation deep dive I was talking about. For the people who are still here, we'll spend maybe about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or something finding cool artists to check out on ArtStation. I think that'd be worth it. Like, let's find some stuff to get inspired by before we wind down for the evening. After we get done here. So I can kind of detect myself starting to use drawing over these guys as a crutch. So I'm going to pull away from this guy. Oh, I'm going to want to do this foot at the very least. So I'm going to pull away from this guy, keep that study handy, and I also have the timed gesture pose on screen for me as well. I'm not going to follow it strictly, but I feel a little more confident now about being able to jump in and do my own version of that thing without necessarily strictly following it, but trying to capture some of its spirit a bit. Oh, we got a whole 7 minutes on this one. After I got started on that draw over. So I think I'm copying the pose too exactly right now, instead of interpreting it. Well, I say that, but I mean like I'm getting like stiffened up as opposed to kind of playing with it a bit. So I want to maybe play with it a bit. Slower opacity on this guy. See what I can do. Maybe use some different shapes. Some ovoids and stuff. Ovoids and cylinders, just to mix things up a bit at the very end. I don't like this. Kind of getting locked up into that area right now. Let's see if I can fix that. Hands are really expressive in this, by the way. I haven't figured out when we're going to do it, but sometime this next week I want to cover hands. Actually, it might be worth it to cover hands tomorrow, because we can cover like cartoon hands. Simplified cartoon hands. That might be a great start. That might be a great way to do a starting point of doing hand stuff. Sometime in the course of the next week, I want to insert some hand study stuff. Hands are really hard to do, and it's easy to fall out of practice with them, and I haven't practiced them in a while. So making hands a priority in the future would be a good idea for everyone here. More time. I got 3 minutes. Wow. Alright, let's see what I can do with this guy. I won't care about how messy it is. I'm just gonna dig right in. I'm just gonna have fun with just fucking around with this guy. So I'm getting my brain shifted over to the mindset I'm gonna have to be in tomorrow, where we're doing cartoons, and we can't be precious with our drawings, and we can push them and pull them and exaggerate and distort. Closing out the evening with something like this, considering what we're going to be doing tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time for 3 hours. We'll be doing cartoon character figure posing, animation or anime character figure posing. Time figure poses and model sheet studies and stuff. And lower opacity on that, and maybe pick out some better shapes here. This is not unlike how I will like work out a P pose in animation, although generally if I'm in better drawing shape it's going to be somewhat less scribbly than this. But the scribbles are enough for me to work with that I can pick out shapes to simplify from it like this and do a cleaner version. Like I know what the buttocks is that I was struggling with trying to put in there. I can put a simpler shape in there. I can do this. So even if you get really scribbly when you're trying to work out something, the traditional version of this is if you rub things down with an eraser a little bit so it's lighter, you can still see it. But then you go back in with a darker pencil or something. Yeah, we're just 1 minute away from finishing for the evening. Alright. Okay, Google, stop. Let's take a look at what we did. Yeah, ironically, sometimes some of the more dynamic poses are easier to do. Anyway, yeah, let's take a look at what we did this evening. Yeah, those were one of my warm-up demos, I think. And that too, I believe. Okay, this is when we started. And I wasn't always strictly following the model. These were our 2s, I believe. Yeah. I think these might be some of the 5s. I don't know. Some of the 5s. This one I got kind of long. This guy's gotten really long torso going on there. That guy's looking pretty nice. Invented pose there. I think these are some of the 5s. Yeah. Here's one of the 7s. Our other dude. This was a kind of a gear shift for me at the end here, so it kind of threw me off a bit. But I'll maybe do some more of these after the class ends on my own to kind of get more in shape for tomorrow's class. But yeah, let's take a look at ArtStation now. Let me get something good up on screen first. It's a page that I really liked. I really kind of like this page, but so I'll leave it on that, and I'll switch it over to reference focus, and I'll take off, close the gesture drawing app, and now we got our browser window. Tricky. Alright, so let's take a quick look at ArtStation. And see if we can find anything cool. Give me one sec. Just gotta drag the browser window over here. Oops. There you go. Alright. So there's a 3D model that looks pretty interesting. Yeah, it's looking good. Let's see if I can share my collections here. Yeah, I think I can share my likes. Or can I? Well, I think I can just share the link to the likes here. But yeah, there's a lot of really interesting art that I've been liking over the last several weeks that you can check out on ArtStation. I'd recommend copying and studying from it. I might yoink some of these to study on my own before tomorrow's class. But yeah, let's see here. I probably would not necessarily want to use these to, with some exceptions, run a class with. So I'm not sure how ethical it would be. But giving these artists a plug and stuff, and showing off their... Oh, this is TB Choi. So TB Choi is one of the people at Brainstorm Academy, I believe. Yep, Brainstorm Academy. This is some of her class demos right here, and she's freaking amazing. Like, her work is fucking awesome. Here, I'm gonna link her in chat real quick. She's awesome. I plugged her before, and she's someone I would love to take a class from. Let's see here. David Ardenarius. Is that how his name's pronounced in my collections? This is just really nice shapes. This is a piece of Sekiro fan art. It has kind of like that vinyl Overwatch character design. Overwatch meets Fortnite kind of vinyl figure look going on here. It would have been interesting if Sekiro did have this style. Kind of changed the tone of the game, but what if it kept the same kind of From Software approach but had this style, even though it's like really dark? That would be interesting. Yeah, TB Show is really cool. Check her out. This is by a guy named Todor Hirstrov. I like that version of Goliath from Disney's Gargoyles. It's got some cool stuff here, including some mature content, which I'm guessing there's breasticles in that. Yeah, it looks like he's got a really good sense of. He really likes chest anatomy a lot, from what I'm seeing. Really good stuff, though. Speaking of chest anatomy, this is a really cool artist to also check out for sure. Ooh, I've seen this before. Her White Diamond fan art. It's a visual designer at Riot Games, but I've seen this on Twitter before. When did she do this? Or when did she upload this? So I've seen this from a while ago. 2 years ago. Dang. Wow. Yeah, I'll link that in chat, because why not? Really cool, though. Let's see here. Zhong Yang. This is just really nice. Like, really beautifully drawn, and the idea is cool. This glowing heart of like this deity slash spirit creature or something. Lilith. No, Lilith. It's I guess it's supposed to be a biblical demon creature. So beautiful, but also kind of scary and alien. So this is an artist who definitely specializes in like women's faces for sure. Really nicely done. Really nicely done expressive female faces. I like it because there's a lot of life and expressiveness in that face, in like all of her faces. The faces don't feel dead. And this is Stallion Creature Attack in the Gas. This is another image for Bill Jordan. I think this is concept art for a movie or a game. I'm not sure. Pretty sure it might be a movie. But that's just really cool. Caleb Rice, a modeler with this Superman skull, based on a concept by David Ardinerus. Yeah, that's who you're talking about. Let's see if we can find him, actually. I'm sure I probably followed him at some point, so let's see. Nothing. Oh wait, no. Here we go. Does he even have an art station? Or there seems to be a lot of people that are like doing stuff based on his work. Oh, here he is. Oh, strangely enough, I'm not following him. It's crazy cool. Maybe I gotta learn more about this guy, since somebody called him out about him. Just forgive me if I'm totally ignorant of someone who's been a big deal for a while. I think I've seen some of this stuff before. Oh yeah, there's the Superman. When was that done? It was done 4 years ago. Yeah, this guy's really good. Definitely someone for me to study from for sure. Alright, let's see. Maybe I can poke at one or two more things and see if we can find anything cool. So my likes are in the chat, and there's a lot of stuff, cool stuff I found over the last several weeks. Let's take a look at my likes section actually. You see how far back this goes, and there's a lot of stuff. I am interested in whatever the heck this is. This is something for something called Evil Book 2. It's like a horror art book of some kind. This guy, Eugene Korolev, participated in it. This is a really, really interesting creature design that he did for there. Oh, there's mature stuff there. Yeah, his stuff's really interesting. The heck? Stupid prizes. No idea what that is, but that looked neat, so I liked it when it popped up. Here's a pretty wild and exaggerated Skeletor by a concept artist. Oh yeah, this is another reason why I like this. Look at his his redesign of Gargoyle, of the cast of Disney's Gargoyles. That's really nice back there. Yeah, this guy's really fucking rad. Surprised I haven't liked that one yet. Some interpretations of Marvel superheroes. Oh, that's really cool. Some of these I think I might want to throw into the rotation tomorrow of stuff to practice from. Like, this is like playing with pliable shapes. Like, this is the kind of stuff that you want to, that like utilizes the principles of what we were doing tonight in really fun ways. What's this? Character study. This is a study he did. Interesting. I'm going to like that because it's like a study that he did 3 years ago. You compare that to like his growth now, where he's like really just going wild with it. It's like, this is the kind of artist that you would definitely think of as like being like a surfer or a skateboarder or something. They get kind of momentum going. The more that they do it, they're able to pull off more flowy and cool tricks and stuff. The more experience they get under their belt, the more drawings that they do. And you can kind of see it when you shift up through here. Like, they get continually in better and better drawing shape over time. It's really cool to track that kind of progress in people. I think that'd be a good person to end it on for the evening right now. This dude. I'll link him in chat as well. He's a really fucking rad artist from what I saw. And then we will end it. I'm going to give you all the congratulations screen. So brace for it. I think it's a good idea from now on to do basically this at the end of every stream. Like, we show off some cool ass art to get inspired by, because that, like, we want to remember what we're doing this for. We're doing this to, like, do stuff like that we were just looking at. Like, I'm not confident with my work enough to be able to do stuff like that, but looking at this after doing this session helps me make that mental connection that I'm not just doing a bunch of studies from how to draw books that are just going to go nowhere. Like, this is what I want to funnel it into, you know? But anyway, look what's creeping on the screen now. We got our congratulations screen. You all did it. All of you that are left. All, like, 29 of you. Thank you all for coming. Support the stream any way you can, but watch the YouTube videos, subscribe if you can, whatever. I'm going to wrap things up now. It's been a good session, and I'm looking forward to as many of you who stayed the full time showing up tomorrow for tomorrow's class at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time.
Congratulations!
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 Congratulations! Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations! Thank you all.